Okay, we're good.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the first summer meeting with Gopher State officials. We've done this, I think this is the third year now that we've done this. What this is intended to do is just be a discussion of, I got 14 plays on here. I'm hoping to try to keep it to an hour and try to get through all 14 plays here. This is just for discussion purposes, and the intent is to try to make everybody a better officials as we get to the fall here. What is today? June 17th. And so we'll have a couple months here and we'll be right in the thick of I think it's like 2 months from today, I think might be or pretty close to today for the go for the meeting, the preseason meeting, and the test and all the things will start a couple weeks before that. So summers are busy. We'll get there before we know it. So good to start always thinking about football rules and things. So I got 14 plays on here, like I said. These plays are just meant for discussion purposes. It's not meant to make fun or belittle any official that's featured on the video here. And so just again, if you have any questions or anything as we're talking through this, Matt Olson, the president for us. I should introduce myself too. My name's Matt Papke. I'm the clinician for Gopher State officials for football. And we put these plays together from plays from last year. So again, as I was saying, this is not meant to make fun or belittle any official. This is just meant to make all of us better that's attending here tonight. Matt is being this film is being recorded. This video is being recorded, so it'll be put on our website after the meeting here. So if you have a question, just be careful of what the question is because this will be available on our website for people whoever wants to watch it. With that, I don't know, Matt, if you want to
I'm here,
add.
Matt, and then just remind them, again, welcome everybody. I appreciate you jumping on here. Um, if you have a question, do the react or, raise your hand or whatever. And or just put something in chat. I'll keep that and Matt and I will kind of coordinate here. Again, thank you for jumping on this. I know everybody's got stuff going on in the summer times, baseball, golf leagues, all that good stuff, softball. Um, just start thinking about football because I think it's like 65 days away from first games. So, George, and the other thing I know George will probably say something here. Um, Over the next few weeks, you're going to start getting a lot more stuff from the high school league. George, about meetings. George is going to be sending stuff out about meetings, about the high school league clinic meetings, all that good stuff. So pay attention to it. And obviously, if you want to talk football, don't feel any of us here. That's what the subcommittee's here. That's what Matt's here for. That's what I'm here for. If you want to talk football, reach out. So that's what we're here. We're here to have fun. We're here to learn, and we're not picking on anybody because I know my crew's got 3 or 4 plays in here. Josh. So, but we're here to learn, just like Nickleby says. We're here to learn. So, anyways, go ahead, Matt.
All right. So first play here. From this game here, the first thing I'm going to point to is the formation. Specifically, I'll get to it here. The receivers on the edge here. So I'll play it up to the mark here. So look at the receivers here. The inside receiver is actually covered by the outside receiver, and so my first poll question was going to be about this specific play, or about this play here, about the formation. So um, we should all know. Hopefully, we all know this. I don't know what we have for newer officials on here, but to be an eligible receiver, you either have to be on the end of the line or a back. Back being somebody that's a yard off the line of scrimmage here. So based on that definition, the inside receiver here is actually an ineligible receiver here. So the first question is going to be in regards to what the penalty is on this play. So I'll just give you guys the answers here. Um, at the snap, there is no foul at the snap. In high school rules, this is not an illegal formation. You could have under high school rules, you could actually have 10 players on the line of scrimmage. You still need a quarterback off the line of scrimmage, but technically the quarterback is considered off the line of scrimmage, even when they are under center. So they would be considered a back just by rule definition. But you could have up to 10 players. You need to have at least seven on line of scrimmage. So you need to have no more than four backs. But you can only have one back if you wanted to in high school rules. So again, this is not an illegal formation in high school rules. It is on Sundays, but it's not on Friday or Saturday. Um, so I'll just play the play here just to see what the action is on this. So this will play the loop here while I talk on this. So you'll see the quarterback take the snap, and it looks like what the intention on this play was that to throw it to the back on the swing pass out into the flat here. And the defense, Elk River in this case, has it pretty well covered. So if you could mute, yeah. And so the quarterback decides not to throw it to the flat. Instead, decides to run with it, which actually is a good decision by the quarterback. So the potential foul we have to watch out for in this is if the quarterback throws the pass past beyond the line of scrimmage, then we have a foul for an ineligible receiver downfield. Because you'll notice that the inside receiver does go downfield as well. So again, not a foul until there is a pass that is thrown beyond the line of scrimmage. Then you would have an ineligible receiver because the receiver does go downfield. Uh, Actually might be a couple 3 yards downfield there. Um, so again, it would be an ineligible receiver downfield if the quarterback were to throw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. Since he tucked in and ran here on this play, there is no foul on this play. So well officiated by the crew here. No fouls, and we'll move on. All right, play two. I got two receivers here highlighted here. I got one with an arrow and one with a circle. So I'm gonna have you guys everybody watch the receiver in the circle at the top. Steve, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask if it's not too much trouble to go back to the last play. Just really wanted to take a quick peek at the number, I believe he's 63, the tackle there. I know that I don't know, is he too far back? I mean, considering that, is he breaking? We can't really see it from here. Breaking that plane, is that something we should be kind of thinking about as well? Is he up on the line of scrimmage?
That's a great question. I would say in this, it looks to me based on the film. Yes, the film is not at a great angle, so it's a little hard to tell on this. I would say in this situation, the tackle is on the line of scrimmage. I think it looks like he is breaking the waist of the center. Again, that's by rule. But yeah, certainly there's going to be situations we've all seen the old flying V where the tackles are kind of back in no man's land or more than a yard off the line of scrimmage. In those cases, we're going to talk to them first. So we'll give a warning first. And if they keep doing it, then we will potentially flag them for not having enough players on the line of scrimmage.
No, I would add, Matt, there, if it's so flagrant, you got to throw it.
Yep, I
No
agree.
warning. If it is so flagrant, you got to throw it. And that's something when you do talk to a coach and he says, you didn't give me a warning, you hear that all the time. You just say, Coach, it was so obvious I had to throw it. And that's the communication your wings can use too. So, sometimes you just have to throw it.
To answer your question, Steve?
Yes, and then just from a standpoint of everyone who's on it's typically going to be this wing at the bottom's call, correct? Because
Yep,
he's the one who's going to be able to
Right.
see it. So
Yep.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Same situation. Let's say if it was the left tackle in this formation, the official at the top would then have the call on that.
thank you.
Yep.
I'll add just one thing on this, and Nickleby will say that too. Don't be overly technical on those. Make them legal if you can, but like Olson said, they're obviously way back in backfield. You got to call it, but this one I think is a good talk to, but don't make it overly technical calls on those.
And I guess just to add one more, just out of curiosity, if you played it a little bit and then paused it, if you can do that, Matt, when you see that inside guy who's not going to be a legal receiver, he does kind of almost stop at the 40, and then kind of thinking that it's going to be a pass, kind of stops right there, and then he starts to drift downfield. So if the pass were to be thrown and he's right there at the 40 and he doesn't move, technically he's not downfield, correct? We're not
Correct.
going to call that.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
High school, you get a yard, correct? In high school?
2 yards.
2 yards in high school. Okay, 3 yards in college. So that's where my head always automatically goes. So
Yeah,
yes,
so two
correct,
yards.
Steve. Yeah, you wouldn't have an issue here. Let's go forward a little bit more. Here. Right there, if he threw the ball right there, then we would have an issue.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Next play here. So set this one up. I have two receivers or two backs in this case, two slap backs highlighted here, one with a circle, one with an arrow. I'm going to draw your attention to the circle first and watch what he does. I'll tell you what the receiver in the arrow, he runs a little drag route across the middle here. So he's going to go downfield a couple yards or maybe a yard here and run a drag across the middle of the field here towards the top sideline. So watch what the receiver at the top does. And so I'll let it play again if it's jerky or anything like that. And actually what I'll do is I'll try to pause it the next time at the action I'm referring to here. Right there. So you see the receiver right here, he's blocking the back here. And the receiver here, it's really basically trying to run a pick play. And so you have the receiver running 1 yard downfield at the 50 here, looking for the pass here, while the receiver at the top is picking for him. Um, so I'll play it forward a little bit here. Now the receiver here, I would say catches the ball at the line of scrimmage. So that's something to be aware of as well on this play when you see the pick action. So let's go backwards here a little bit. First thing I want to talk about is the coverage. Who's got the initial keys here and where they're at. And back judges, I don't know how many back judges we have on here, but you're gonna have to hold me honest here. Referee and umpire, we're gonna be looking at the line of scrimmage here. The referee's got the right side of the line. The umpire's gonna have the left side plus the center in this play. Line of scrimmage guys, they have the outside receivers. Is that accurate? I hope.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I know my own. So the line of scrimmage in this formation, you're gonna have the outside receivers, and then since we're in the middle of the field, we have I think the back judge is gonna go to this guy. Is that accurate? This guy right here?
He would always go strong side or chain side, yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's a strong side.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. I should probably study the everybody else's keys probably. Um, so the back judges, you're the ones that's going to be responsible for this receiver here that ends up picking on this. And so our back judges, we would expect you to have an opinion on this, if this is a block or not. Teams are getting trained really well, and so this receiver, I would say, is probably not trained that well because he does look like to me he slows down a little bit and is clearly running to this linebacker right here. So I think in this case, you do have a pick here, I think, that he's running. Clearly trying to get into this front of this guy. Now the linebacker kind of backs off a little bit here. Looks like they're running some kind of zone defense here. So, but that doesn't matter in this case. I think you have, Matt, chime in if you disagree with me, but I think this is a pick that he's trying to run here.
If you've got contact, he deliberately went at him. That's a pick.
So I think in this situation, back judges, I think you're going to want to have a flag on this play. And then we're going to have a discussion here because the line of scrimmage officials, they do a good job of not moving. They're right on the line of scrimmage here in this play. They're going to have an opinion on where the receiver catches the ball. So for offensive pass interference, the other element we're going to have on this play is that the ball is caught beyond the line of scrimmage, not behind. And I would say in this situation, he catches the ball right there, which puts him right at the line of scrimmage. And so I would say in this case, I don't think it would not be offensive pass interference because of the catch right at the line of scrimmage. But to piece that together, it's going to have to be a discussion between the back judge and both line of scrimmage officials, likely in this case. The back judge should bring in the information that the receiver was blocking downfield before the ball was thrown. And then the line of scrimmage officials will have the information. Well, he caught it. You don't want to parse this or you don't want to nitpick on this to say he is beyond the line of scrimmage in this case or not. He's got to be clearly beyond the line of scrimmage for this to be downfield, a forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage here to make this offensive pass interference. So line of scrimmage officials, you'll have the information saying, no, he caught it at the line of scrimmage. We'll pick up the flag. That'll be reported to the referee who will announce it in this case, and we will move on to the next play.
And then, and I would chime in there, Matt, too, is if there's a mic, like Champlin's got a mic, that's where the referee, a good explanation of the reason why would help and explain for people too. It could save you talking to a coach, you know, something like that. A simple explanation on this, like the ball did not cross the line of scrimmage, therefore there is no illegal block downfield, um, and go. So a simple explanation is good here too.
Yes, I agree.
Hey, Papke, could you run that in full speed real quick, just one more time, please?
Absolutely. Did you get what you did out of that, Mitch?
Sorry. Yes, and I got a question for you white hats there. On this play, would you have any issues with not throwing a flag altogether? So my only question on this would be, so when the receiver's running, I know he's somewhat running a route, and we all kind of know what he's running, but he kind of looks back at the quarterback, and that's when he about makes contact with Champlin defender there, where it's almost incidental to it. See, because he kind of looks back and then he kind of runs right into him. Would you have any issues on just no flag altogether for this play?
I think, Matt, Mitch, in this case, if you catch that, your back judge doesn't know where the ball's being caught. If it's his key, he's watching it. So it's easy for you to go up to your back judge and say that ball was caught at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, so we don't have it. Um, but you'd rather catch it and throw it and pick it up than miss it completely. If he drifted down to the 48-yard line, now you are beyond the line of scrimmage, so you know, I would throw it, and honestly, somebody would, I would think Spanier or Nickleby or an observer would say, "Hey, that's a good catch," and it was an easy pickup.
Are
Okay.
you are you saying you don't think that's a block downfield? It's just incidental contact, Mitch?
It's, I mean, watching it in full speed, he really doesn't make hard contact with them, and he kind of
No.
goes off of them there.
I don't the level of contact shouldn't matter in this case. I think
Right.
Right.
to me he's clearly like slowing down to try to make sure he gets into the into the linebacker. And so it's if he's running full speed and running a route that way, then that's one thing. I think in this case he's kind of rounding off that route. He's slowing down. It to me it looks like pretty obvious that his intent was to pick off the linebacker in this case. And I don't think it's very well done to the fact that me personally, I can see it both ways, Mitch. If you don't throw a flag in this, then that's fine too, I think. To me, this is offensive pass interference, though. That's my
Okay.
opinion.
Yeah,
Nope,
I'll
not
just
me.
add one more thing on that. Remember the definition of interference. Did he impede him? He
Right.
definitely did.
Yeah,
Okay. Everybody's got a right to go to the ball. Secondly, the wings need to know how to explain this to their coach.
yeah,
Okay. If
and
there's
that's
no mic,
where,
if there's
yeah,
no mic, the wings need to be able to explain that to a coach
Yeah,
rather
and
than say, I got to go talk to my white hat.
yep. Yeah, and this is where O2Os kind of come in handy as well. Maybe the back judge or the
Absolutely.
line of scrimmage. In this case, it's probably easy for the line of scrimmage to say, well, the ball was caught at the line of scrimmage, so it's definitely not offensive. It's got to be beyond to be pass interference. So I think in this case, it's probably easy. Whereas a different situation, say he catches it at the 50, then you have to have a discussion on the back judge and say, well, the ball, maybe your explanation then is, well, the ball wasn't thrown until after the contact or before the contact occurred to make it not pass interference.
yeah.
Anything else on this play? All right. That's the field. Okay. So this play number 3. So in this, let me set this up here again. So what's going to happen is the slot back's going to go in motion there. You saw that a little bit, and they're going to hand the ball off to him, and he's going to run a sweep to the top side of the field here. I just wanted you to watch the line of scrimmage official on this case, and I'll let it play, and we'll go, let it come back again. So I'll play one more time here. So the line of scrimmage official in this case does a very good job of working his way backwards and then getting the play to clear in front of him and then coming up and spotting the ball. And we get a good wind here at the end as well.
The only thing I would say on here, anything is just turn. You got your foot down, just turn and look back at the players because it kind of you got the spot, everything. Just turn and square up your body and you're kind of facing downfield. Just pivot back and be open so you can see everything. That's a smallest little critique at all. Other than that, it was great.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I think the official does a great job reading that the
Yeah.
play's coming their way, so they get back behind the play. There's no goal line here to worry about, so we're fine in that situation. So they do a good job of making sure the play clears in front of them and staying out of the way. Yes, I agree, because with the way they're looking right here, they don't see the action behind the play. So kind of, I'll pause it here and draw a line because you probably can't see my mouse. So now in this case, there's a little bit of action right here. So you just want to make sure there's no and nothing going
Yeah.
on that you need to worry about here. I think the players just kind of do a good job clearing out in this case, but with your kids kind of looking this way, and instead, like Matt's saying, if you come this way, you can kind of see what's going on there and have an idea what's happening there instead.
Otherwise, trying to look back, you're going to wrench your neck.
Yep, exactly. So, like I said, pretty good job or good job on the official here. Just that one little to try to score up and face the field versus facing down the field.
Kevin, put it down.
Yeah, whoever Wade's talking to, put it down. All right, this play here, play number 4. So this play here, again, I just wanted to highlight the line of scrimmage officials. We got this is Matt's crew actually, so we got his line of scrimmage official here. Same thing here. He probably could get back a little bit quicker once he sees the pass coming out his way, especially when he starts running backwards. But I think overall does a pretty good job of clearing out on this and getting behind the play here. And getting a good wind here at the end as well. That he is his forward progress in this case. He catches the ball and is driven backwards, and so we're going to spot the ball at the 34-yard line. The reason this play is on here is, I don't know how many newer officials we have on here, but you'll hear a lot of cross-field mechanics. And so this is where the official at the top of the screen will help out the official at the bottom of the screen here with getting a good spot. So what that means is the official, I don't know if you can see it, my screen's a little blocked here. But the official at the top of the screen will come and stand in an area where the play ended in their view from across the field here. And the official at the bottom of the screen, after the wind and after the play is kind of over, will walk up, pick up the ball, and then get a view of where the official at the top of the screen is, and then put the ball down. Preferably, you're just going to put it on the yard line in this case, which is the 34-yard line. And so this is a 2-play vignette, so I'm just going to go to the next play and show that that's where the ball was spotted. It was at the 34-yard line here.
And I would chime in here. And Mike Spanier, if you ever hear Mike talk, for the high school league, if you look at the NFL, they over 60 or 70% of their plays, they're using crossfield mechanics. He'll tell you that if you ask him the stats. It's a pretty high stat that they're using crossfield mechanics for mirroring of the guys of taking the spots. I know our guys, Josh and Brad here they get on the O2 on the radio and say, "Hey, I got the spot, or take Josh or take whatever." So use your O2Os in that case, especially in this type of thing when you got people at your feet at the sideline, you got a lot of stuff going on. Crossfield mechanics is the best thing that you can use.
And I would say too, even umpires too. So umpires are probably going to come out at least to the numbers to get the ball and then bring it back to the hashes. This is another area where crossfield mechanics help, where the umpire can just kind of run out to the hash, pick up the official at the top of the screen in this case, and put the ball down based off of them,
Yeah.
even though the play ended behind them here. So you're not having to turn around and then put the ball down and then get back to your spot. You can just run up to the spot, put the ball down based off the top official, and then go back to your spot. It looks cleaner, it goes faster. All right. This play here. So offense in this case is snapping the ball from call it 7 or 8 yard line here. Looks like the 8 yard line here. And so this is where the line of scrimmage officials, George, you have to hold me honest on this. I think 10 up to this 5, I think it is.
10 to 5 and 5 in.
5 in. Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
basically, they're Nickleby and Spain are saying now, if you're at the 10, inside the 10, you're going to the goal line. Unless
Okay.
maybe the 5 is the line to gain. It used to be if at the 10, you go to the 5 and adjust and then go to the goal line. Basically, they're saying now go to the goal line at the snap. And unless that line, if it's 4th and 3 at the 8 yard line, you may want to kind of, they're trying to get to the 5, but basically they want you going to the goal line when that ball snapped inside the 10.
So I think in this case, we're at the chains. I don't see the chains, so it's probably a goal to go situation. And so I guess based off of what George just said, the last year's mechanics would say you kind of work your way to about the 5 yard line and then get to the goal line if the play gets broken from there. And yes, to George's point too, I know this was a mechanic last year as well. If it's 3rd or 4th and 3, I think they wanted you to go right to the line to gain in that case. And then if they beat that, then you worry about the goal line. But you always want to worry about what the most important line is. And in a 4th and 3 situation, it's the line to gain. Anything beyond that, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down, not as threatened, the line to gain. So you can kind of slow play it a little bit there. So you don't see the official on the screen right now at the top of the screen. But after the snap, you'll see the official does a good job here of moving. You can kind of see him moving there, and then he's right at the spot, basically, in this case, of where the ball carrier is tackled. So good job on the officials in this case to move pre-snap or as a snap happens, and then start working to the goal line, and then there's a line to gain there at the 5, and then come back and get the spot once the play is over. So again, good job on the official here to start moving to the goal line and then come back and get the spot. All right. Next play. The next play is, I got 3 plays on this one here. So let me go to the second part. Oops, that's the tight version. I want this one. So what's going to happen in this play, I'll let it play here a little bit. So the offensive team in this case, they end up breaking a long run from about the 38-yard line, running in for a touchdown here. What my highlight here in this case is, back judge, I would like to see you hustle a little bit more and try not to get beat to the goal line. That's just a nitpicky thing, I would say, in this case. Obviously, the running back's going to score, but it looks better from our standpoint if you can try to beat the running back to the goal line here. But you should be moving that way right now, and then on the goal line as he passes it. Looks like you get there a step or 2 late here. So again, just a nitpicky thing there. But the official, the back judge is in a good spot here to be able to rule. It's a little hard to see on the video, but you can kind of watch after the running back scores a touchdown here. You'll watch them take the ball and spin it on the ground like that, just like that. So that's what the flag is for in this case. So the back judge is in a good spot to at least rule on that and does have a flag on that. So the reason this is on the tape, and this is one of the quiz questions actually, what are the enforcement spots? So I want to talk about enforcement spots on this. And so we have actually unsportsmanlike conduct in this case, or personal foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct, I would say. Yeah, right. In high school, because it's non-contact, we can go unsportsmanlike on this.
Yeah.
So, Sorry, again, I'm conflating college here. On college, it's a no doubt unsportsmanlike. Um, so penalty enforcement. So the foul in this case occurs after the touchdown happens, and so the defense has an option on this play. The touchdown counts no matter what because it's a dead ball foul. It happens after the play. So no matter what, the touchdown counts. And so the defense has two options. They can actually technically have three. They could always decline the penalty. I don't know why you would, but you have the option. The other two options are you can enforce the penalty on the try. So you can push them back to the 18-yard line and have them try from there, or you can enforce it on the next kickoff. So, any questions on the play first off? And everybody hopefully agrees that that is a foul when they spin the ball like that. So I'll go to the next play, which is the try. And so the defense did not elect to enforce this on the try. They're trying from the 3-yard line. So I'll get to the kickoff. And you'll see they are kicking off from the 25-yard line, which is accurate. So you move it back 15 yards from the 40, and that's where the free kick will happen after the try.
And
Hey,
again,
Matt.
just go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add, even if that foul happens live ball, we still have same enforcement, correct? It's
Yes.
still enforced as a dead ball foul, so it's we're going to have a score no matter what.
Correct. Yep,
Yeah.
correct. Technically, the play is over once he passes the goal line. So yes, you would, but yes, it's a live ball. In that case, to Jeff's point, it would be a live ball enforced as a dead ball foul, which would then have the same options.
And again, and I guess I'd chime in here when, if there's a field mic, it's a good explanation for everybody. They elected to take it on the kickoff or on the succeeding spot, the kickoff. And then also, depending on the time of the game, depending on the score of the game, that's where your wings need to know what's going on as well. The benefit of the O2Os because of what they decide to do. If it's a tie game, if there's points, they could have taken it if it was the last play of the game, whatever it might be. And, going for two or tie, to tie the game up, whatever. So things like that, that's where the O2Os come in handy and also a field mic. So again, practice your mic skills. More and more schools are getting them, referees.
Yeah, and to Matt's point too, this is where the O2Os will come in handy. Maybe for some reason the line of scrimmage had something to clean up and not aware that what the foul even is. And so this is where the back judge very handy to get on and say, hey, I have a foul for the player spinning the ball after you scored a touchdown here. So then the sideline official on the defensive sideline can get to the coach and say, hey, we got a foul. Here are your options. Which one do you choose? And explain them. You could go at the try, try for the 18, or move it back on the kickoff, back to the 25. And so hopefully that conversation's happening as we're communicating with the referee. The referee's at least signaling. Hopefully, to Matt's point, they have a field mic. Field mics just make everything go better, make everything easier to explain what's going on the field. And they have a decision before they turn the mic on, and then tell everybody what happened and where they're enforcing the penalty from.
Okay, I'd like to add, Matt, I'd like to add one thing on this, and I think Jeff brought it up earlier. This is unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, whether they're happening in a dead ball after the play or during the play. The phrasing in the rule book is live ball enforced as dead ball. Example, this happened in a state tournament game, but if this had been the last play of the game, okay, and let's say the scoring team is down by 1 at the end with the touchdown, that penalty does not get enforced. If there's 0 on the clock, that penalty is enforced as a dead ball foul. The extra point would go from the 3-yard line. There would be no choice for the defense. Once that clock hits 0 on an unsportsmanlike conduct foul, it does not get enforced. There's going to be one very unhappy coach and all of their followers. So again, the mic would help. The wings have got to be able to understand that. But again, everybody, penalty enforcement errors are a crew issue, not a head referee issue. So again, make sure you know how these penalties need to be enforced. It could be very critical. And It did happen in a state tournament game where the last play of the game, team scores, the ball carrier does a swan dive into the end zone. Game's over. That score put them ahead, and the game was over. No penalty enforcement. So again, very critical.
So George, correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say that's the player's second unsportsmanlike conduct of the game. Do they? I guess the question: do they have to sit out the next game if they have two unsportsmanlike fouls? And
That would be a high school league decision.
okay,
Yeah.
Report it.
sure.
He earned it, but that's what high school league is paid for. And
Yeah.
they would decide that. And if they decide he sits out, then the lawyers get involved. So,
And we don't want that.
We don't
And
want that.
well, we do our part. They do
Yeah.
their part.
Yeah.
Good question, Matt.
Hey, question on that one. I just want to make sure during that referee's announcement, this is Dennis. Does he indicate that's number blah blah blah's first unsportsmanlike for the game? Is that part of the announcement as well, or is that just is that a college thing?
No,
You
it's
can,
good to let them know.
yeah. Basically, you'll see more and more. It feels like more and more the college stuff is leaking down into high school. NFL's leaking down to college. So I personally do announce that with the announcement saying this is number whatever's first unsportsmanlike toward disqualification.
Yeah, good question. And if nothing else, it gets that kid's parents time to get down to the sideline and tell him to knock it off. Otherwise, he's going to get another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the coach is in his ear too.
I told my son that when he was in high school. I said, if I see it again, guess what? I'll pull you off the field.
Yeah. No, good questions.
Two questions, really quick. As it relates to that last point, and maybe I just kind of missed what George said, but if that touchdown scored, he swan dives in, you throw a flag, and the clock is at 0, but that tied the game, so the extra point to come, there's no penalty enforcement for the extra point, or are we enforcing the penalty on the extra point
No,
if there's zeros?
no,
on the
there's no
clock?
penalty to enforce.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Even though
no-
though it tied it, there's zeros on the clock.
Right.
And so, and again, I'm conflating the college rule, but if the score ties it or puts them down one, we, especially in a state, I guess, in a state game, if it's tied, we have to do any game. If it's tied, we have to do the try, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
If it puts them down one, well, down one, they're going to try to do the try also. If it puts them up one, do we
Then
have
you
to
don't have
try
to.
that? I say
No.
we do in that case, right? That's an NFL rule,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Because high school defense cannot return
That's
anything
right.
in
Okay. Yep.
extra points in high school.
Yep. College and NFL, they would come out and try it, and hopefully they're smart enough just to
Yeah.
know the ball. Okay.
Know your differences between the three levels.
Yep. And that's
Matt,
and that's
college, you don't have to do the try in that situation. The team in possession can elect to forego the try.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
The second question is just kicking off from the 25 there mechanically. You still want all three officials at the goal line?
I think technically you're supposed to. I move our line of scrimmage guys up to the 10-yard line because I
Yeah.
have not seen a kicker kick it that far.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also, that goes back to Steve. Sometimes you get a kicker that can boot it, he's a D1 kicker, whatever it might be. But yeah, they're technically supposed to be on the pylons. I do it with our guys too, move them up 10 yards, it's because then they can still get back for whatever, because we know that the ball can bounce whatever which way. So
Yep. Just want to make sure. Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right, so this actually, George, kind of segue into this play here. You can barely see the clock here, but there's, say, 3.1 seconds left at the second quarter here. So and you can see the defense here. They're back at the 10-yard line. We're snapping from the 49-yard line here. So last play of the half here. And I will get, let me fast forward this a little bit here, up to here. So situation, I guess this is where, thinking about down and distance here, it's, this down doesn't really matter here. They're trying for a touchdown. It's the last play of the half. And it looks like somebody's up 47-14. My guess is Elk River is up
Yes.
47-14
Yeah.
in this case. So St. Francis again is looking for anything to get some momentum here going to halftime, which we're going to be a runner here probably based on the score here. So last play of the half, think about what you're expecting here, which Elk River is clearly expecting a pass as well to try to get a touchdown here because that's all they're going to have time for here. So I'll let it go. I'll fast forward a little bit here. And so I'll highlight this guy here, the D-back here. Watch what he does.
Kind of
So
jumped.
the video cuts off right at the end there, unfortunately. So I'll see if I can pause it here. So what happens is you can kind of see him measuring up right now. The ball at this point's been thrown, but it's not there yet. And so he gets the hit right there. It's now loading, unfortunately. This is working well. So basically what you have is the D-back hits the receiver before the ball gets there. So we, also know a pass interference in this case, defensive pass interference. I think the D-back, the one right here, I think he actually intercepts the ball. No, it doesn't show it. Anyway, so just of it, you have pass interference in this situation. So the last play of the half, this is again where George said earlier, where you need to know your penalty enforcements. So last play of the half, you have a defensive pass interference. The offense, this is going to be a poll question. The offense, any accepted penalty extends the half in high school football. And so obviously in this case, St. Francis is going to accept the penalty. We're going to move up 15 yards and we're going to get untimed down in this case at the end of the half. And I just will fast forward here to show that they do snap the next play with zeros on the clock from the 34-yard line. So the crew did this very well here. Can't imagine, obviously doesn't show the conversation with the coach, but this is the situation. Pass accepted penalty into half, we get an untimed down. So you hear announcers all the time in the NFL. I don't know the NFL rule. They say defensive foul penalties. Last play of the half extends the half. High school rule, it's any accepted penalty. So any questions? Are you good on that? All right. Go ahead, Steve.
The only thing I'll just kind of mention, or I noticed, the wing official, mechanically again, just want to make sure. I know typically we stay at the line of scrimmage, but because we know it's going to be a long pass play, the wing official kind of releases at the snap to try to the one on the bottom here.
Well, the bottom, yep.
So I just want to say, we're okay with that. I just want to make sure that
I think in this case, if you know what's happening, you break as long as you don't get something crazy, at the line with the tackles or something like that. Yeah, go down. You know what's going to happen. Your goal line is what's going to be threatened in this case.
Right.
Or go down till your first line of players, like at the 30, that's where your line is. Where the guy here at the lower level is at the 37, 38. And the other guys, I would do that. At least one of your guys, they had the top one hold, and he's helping for ineligibles downfield. He's helping for anything crazy. But yeah, your one guy could break. I would break.
Yeah. And it could only be one guy to your point, Mac, because we still need to be able to
Yes.
see if there's ineligibles downfield or if make sure the quarterback
Yes.
throws the ball behind the line of scrimmage. And I would say also you want to go down you don't want to be running. So if you can see that the pass is happening, you want to try to get stopped so you can be able to rule on anything that happens after the pass has been thrown. So your head's not bobbing around or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, good question again, Steve. Any other questions on this? Comments?
I have
Okay.
a question. Would that be the score of the
What was
game
that,
and who's
Brent?
going to leave and who's going to stay? So they know?
Usually That's what the O2Os are good for. Usually the chain side would stay. But you can also, depending on what the situation is, if they're unbalanced to one side, in this case, I think they had more on the far side. So, it might be, it might be a pre-snap decision depending on the formation.
You can think about it from the standpoint too. Usually we see right-handed quarterbacks, and so usually, especially where they've got so far to go, if they're going to scramble, they're probably going to go to their right, instead of trying to throw back across their body to the left. And so you can
Yes.
kind of use that as a guide as well to say that they're probably going to throw to the right side of the line. If you could think about that, then maybe err on the line of scrimmage that's going to be on the offense's right side to go downfield. Actually, I'm sorry, to stay
Those are
to go
so
down.
yummy. I was like, do you guys happen to have a horseradish sauce at all? We don't have
See, I don't know if that's a question for us. So
But again, that's where the O2Os, the radios come in handy.
Yep.
So then it kind of lets everybody know, and it also helps your back judge know that, hey, I'm looking down the middle because you're in zone coverage at the snap anyways, basically. But he can more concentrate a little bit more over to his left side in this case because he knows he's got this short wing coming down here. The line of scrimmage is coming down this way, who can concentrate more. If it gets to that, but you're in zone at the snap, basically.
anything else on this play? No, really good discussion, everybody, tonight. This is great. All right, next play here. So I'll let it play here. All right, so on this play, hopefully it worked for everybody here. We have a quarterback who's looking for time to throw the ball. He gets flushed here pretty quickly here, so he's scrambling around, and then ends up throwing the ball. Tries to throw the ball away, and does not get the ball back to the line of scrimmage in this case. So, so this is going to be a fun play to parse out here. So first off, referee and umpire. Once you see the quarterback start scrambling, especially backwards, you should be backpedaling right then. I know it's hard, and we keep getting older. They stay 18 years old and younger, so they're gonna be faster than us. I get that. And so it's kind of a scramble drill to do your best to try to get behind the play here. This unfortunately happens where the quarterback does end up getting behind us here. And so the only thing we can try to do, like I said, is try to react a little bit sooner than that. If we can kind of read that's what's happening here. Line of scrimmage officials. So where's the ball snapped from in this case? We're snapping from the 47-yard line, call it. And so I'm watching the line of scrimmage officials here. The one at the top goes downfield a yard. The one in the back goes back a yard. So they're pretty close to the line of scrimmage here. So we have a pretty good idea where the line of scrimmage is at. So talking about that, I'm going to review the intentional grounding exception here. So in high school, it's same as college. Once the quarterback is outside of the free blocking zone in our case, which is basically the tackle box, but technically it's the free blocking zone, they have the ability to throw the ball away, which means they can throw the ball to a spot where there's no eligible official, as long as the pass passes the line of scrimmage. And it's not intentional grounding, it's a legal pass with that exception there. It's an exception in the rule book. In this case, the quarterback throws the ball, but does not get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. So the line of scrimmage official, it looks like they're probably getting on their O2O. I would prefer the line of scrimmage official, once they've ruled incomplete, to start running towards the referee. Because in that case, that's going to get the referee thinking. Hopefully they're thinking already in this case, that we could have intentional grounding. But I'd rather see the line of scrimmage official run to the referee, because then that really gets the referee moving. Hey, we have a problem here. What's going on? The referee in this case also This is a foul from the spot where he throws the ball at. And so once you have an idea that we might have intentional grounding, or especially if you start hearing an 0-2-0 or you see your official running at you, you should be going back to where the ball is thrown from, because that is where, if you have a penalty here, that's where the ball will be thrown, or the penalty be, the spot is at there. So
The one question, Matt, here that came up was line of scrimmage extended for crossing the line of scrimmage.
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So the line of scrimmage does go around the world. So they could throw the ball into the 10th row of the stands. As long as it passes the line of scrimmage to do that, then you are fine.
Yeah, but in this case, it looks like he didn't even get there, did he?
No, he didn't even get to the 40. He got to the 40-yard line when the defense almost intercepted the ball there.
And then the other question is, I would say this isn't a question, but what come up here is the quarterback could say he was trying to, number 15 was in the area, but you could tell he wasn't even going after him. He was
Right.
just trying to get rid of the ball.
Right.
So, you couldn't even stretch it to that. Oh, 15 was in the area.
Right. Yeah, the ball 15's at the 30-yard line when the ball lands at the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
High school players they're pretty good athletes. They're not that good athletes. No, NFL players are not that good athletes to be able to catch that ball here. So I still know what the ruling is in this case, but I don't think they threw a flag on this. So it should be, in my view, it should be intentional grounding. The line of scrimmage official should be running in to let the referee know that the ball did not get back to the original line of scrimmage, and then it's on the referee to throw the flag in this case.
Or else in this case, the line of scrimmage guy point to 15, I deem he's in the area.
Yep.
Matt's quick question. Do we want to, I think Nickleby has used a 7-yard rule in that case. Is that correct for high school?
Yeah, that's generally what they tell us in college as well. If it's within, be smart with that though. If it's like throwing 40 feet over his head and it happens to land 7 yards downfield, then I would argue it's probably not in the area. But yes, generally that's kind of a guideline for us to use. So yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, and just
And
sorry. And one thing to piggyback off the line of scrimmage extended, the only reason I made the note in there, Matt, was I had a coach last season that had no idea that it was line of scrimmage extended. He thought it had to be within the lines.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was a coach that kind of shocked me that didn't know that. So that's why I just wanted to bring that up for us, as some of the coaches may not know it. So just a heads up, so you guys know it on the field.
Yep.
Good point, Mitch. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
If I could add one thing on them too as well, Matt, this is Dennis. Hey, just looking at the mechanics of the umpire there, what I normally do, or what I've been told to do, is that, at the snap, take a step backwards. He just kind of sat there and waited.
Yeah.
And that would probably give him an opportunity to kind of, be a little bit more agile with that. He could probably help that. He could probably help his referee with that as well. Is ensuring the fact, okay, he threw the ball from this point. So that way, because he's behind, if he continues to stay in that play, the umpire does, he can get a better spot. So he threw the ball from this spot, from the 15-yard line versus the 17 or 18-yard line. And he can stay engaged in that place. Just because it doesn't involve him, he can also help his referee in that regard. So umpires, make sure you take that step back at the snap to kind of get yourself ready to move backwards. Trust me, I had that happen to me.
Yeah. Dennis, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, the umpire on this can help out just by standing on the yard line where the ball was thrown, especially because the referee gets caught up in the wash here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing you can help with is you should know where the ball was snapped from. So if it's close to being inside the, being legally grounding, or if he's still in the blocking zone / tackle box, whatever, if we're not sure about that, I can, I've got it on my hand. I've got an indicator on my hand that tells me reminds me where I set the ball down. I can just go over and say, hey, we snapped it from the hash. So if he was inside the upright when he threw the ball, he's legal.
Yep, agreed. And that's a good point. Yeah, and that's why we back straight back, because we're making sure the fact that, if he rolls to our side, then we'll know if he's inside or outside the free blocking zone, where he, threw it or whatever he was in that regard.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Thank you, Dennis, for saying that. That's why the referee and umpire, we line up on the outside shoulder of the tackle to try to have an idea where the free blocking zone is and block back straight up.
Yeah.
And you know, in this case, the quarterback looks like he probably gets outside the
Oh,
free
yeah.
blocking zone in this
Oh,
case.
yeah.
So once he's outside the free blocking zone, he's always outside the free blocking zone. And so he does have the ability to throw it away no
Yep.
matter where he throws the ball from once he's already broken outside the free blocking zone.
Exactly.
Anything else on this play? This is really good discussion. All right. All right, this play here, this we're gonna have I think 3 fouls on this play actually. So I'll let this play through here. I think I highlight some of them here. So there's foul 1. I don't know what foul 2 is up here. He just throws a flag, but I do highlight a guy here. Watch what this lineman does here. This white lineman. At least he's nice enough to let him back up or help him back up. All right, so let's sort this one out here. So, you know, as officials, we should always love these plays where somebody's scrambling around like this because somebody's going to be an a-hole and light somebody up, or at least that's what you should be looking for here. So, proverbial brick in the hand, who's the guilty party here, or who looks like they're going to be guilty here. So we'll kind of parse this out here. So, quarterback drops back, starts scrambling to the left, and then stops, scrambles back to the right.
And a
And there's
hold right there.
Yep. So we got a blindside block here in the first one, right? Do you say hold, Matt?
No, there's a go back inside one. I
Okay, I
think
can't.
the umpire threw the first flag is on a hold on the line off left tackle.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I missed that one because I got you guys' pretty pictures up. So
Yeah,
so he gets flushed the first time.
right
There's a
there.
hold
That's a
there.
hold.
Yep. So that's the first
Mm.
flag. And then we have probably a blindside block there. That's the second flag,
Yeah.
right? And scrimmage gets. And then we have this hit happens after the play's over. So that's the third flag or third foul. I don't know what the guy at the top's throwing a flag for. I don't see a foul in there. I'm not saying there's not a foul that they're throwing the flag for. Something clearly happens up there, but they don't get the late hit on this case, at least from what the video shows. So he's tackled there, and then the late hit happens after that. So let's say we got 3 foul. Let's take the third flag out of this and go with the hold and the blindside block and the late hit and talk about those. So we got 2 live ball fouls and a dead ball foul in this case. So we're going to talk about this here. So what we're going to do with the rule change last year, the offense, both the blindside block and the hold will be assessed from the previous line of scrimmage. We're going to decline the hold because that's only 10 yards. We're going to have the defense, hopefully we're going to convince the defense to accept the blindside block, which is 15 yards. So we're going to back them up 15 from the previous spots, replay the down, and then after the play, if they call this late hit, we have another 15-yard foul. And so they're going to end up with 30 yards of penalties, but they're going to get their play again. So this is where, again, crew conversation. You're going to have to probably, I would say in this case, not use the O2Os, and you're going to come together and talk about what you
Yeah.
have.
Now, also you got to think about, Matt, you've also got all of these are declinable. Like if this is 4th down, they could decline because they're all on one team.
Yep, true. That is, you always have the option to decline it.
Yes, yeah.
Right. Well, on that, Matt, though, that late hit would be enforced.
Yes, the late hit would be
On
enforced.
the offensive team, then the new offensive team would be able to enforce that since it was after the end of the 4th down play. But
Correct, you are correct, George. Yep.
when you get into these situations, you know, White Hat says, what do we have? Where did it happen? When did it happen? And what's the result of the play?
Yeah.
All those pieces of information have to be conveyed. It's best there to huddle up and just take the time you need because it'd be very easily very easy to only enforce one of those.
Yeah.
And to your point,
You always talk about the sequence. You always take them in order. And then in this, which one happened first, and then you go, if there's a defensive one thrown in there, well, then that cancels them out. But except for the late hit.
right. Yeah, the late hit you're still going to assess likely, unless there's another one by the defensive team as well. And to George's point too, if it's fourth down, they didn't get the line to gain, the defense declines both live ball fouls, they still will get the 15 after the play, and it'll still be 1st and 10 after the play.
For the new offense.
For the
Yes.
new offense, wherever the ball ends up at.
Yeah. There was a question here. Defender appears to run over the receiver on the far sideline. Possible PI.
Yeah, this video is incredibly hard to tell. It looks like to me he caught the ball before he ran him over. But again, this video is incredibly hard to tell that.
Hey, Matt, can we look at that blindside block once again, please?
Sure. Do you see enough, Dennis?
Yeah, I was just when I first saw, I thought he's looking right at him, but he's got his eyes focused somewhere else. So,
Now, Dennis, if he would put his hands up,
oh, you put his hands in his
you
hands.
put his hands
I'm
up, you
fine
have
with it.
nothing.
I got
You have
nothing.
nothing there.
Absolutely
That's
not. I
just a
agree with that
block.
100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Now, you look at if they both saw each other coming.
Yep.
If he saw him coming, and you could somewhat justify by the film that he saw him coming, but if he goes and puts his hands up, you definitely
Got
have
nothing. I got nothing on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
And in fact, I'm probably if I'm throwing a flag on this for a blind side, I probably will tell the lineman, hey, if you put your hands up next time, he's still gonna end up on his ass, and I'm not gonna throw a flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, just continue that play now. From that point on. Okay. I'll just add one other thing. Before blindside block came in as the penalty as we know it today, we had a very similar play like that in one of our Gopher games, probably 8 years ago. High school league wanted that called anyway. He didn't need to hit him the way he did.
Okay.
So he's defenseless versus he sees him maybe, but it's defenseless. And we went back and forth with them on that, and they said they wanted that called even before blindside came into the discussion. So as Matt or somebody else said, if he blocks with open hands, he's good as long as it's in the front, and whether he saw him coming or not. So
Right.
yeah, that's
And just again to be clear, this is a blindside block. The personal foul blindside block.
yes.
And in this
Looking
case,
at-
in this case, it trumps the holding, so it's an additional 5-yard penalty if they accept to back it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking at
Yeah,
that
you can only
hit on-
enforce one live ball.
Correct.
looking at that hit on the receiver there at the end, is there a chance that that official, that line guy, had the hit on the defenseless receiver and no attempt to wrap up?
Potentially, yeah, that may be what the call
Could
is.
be.
Yeah, which then to your point, Jeff, let's say that's what the call is there. Personal foul on the D-back. That's going to cancel out obviously the live ball fouls as well. We're just going to replay the down after we assess if they call this late hit at the end here.
Yeah.
Still going to back them back 15. And in that case, if the fouls offset each other and we have the dead ball foul, then the down's going to count. No, I'm sorry, never mind. It doesn't. We just offset and replay the down. Sorry.
Yeah, and see, in this case, the down marker does have fourth down up, so that will take into account to what they do too. So that's the other thing, like George had said at the beginning, you got to take into account the down distance as well, the down of the play too.
Yep.
Hey, just one last thing here, just for administrative purpose, just administrative thing. Because we got a mess here going, for lack of a better word. Everybody, everyone probably knows this, but make sure somebody's standby flag, somebody knows what those flags are. And then 2, when it's time for the referee to report, stay by him so he'll know, color and number, as he goes through this, because we've got multiple number of flags. That's a lot of information for him to process, him or her to process. So as he reports the first one, make sure if you got offense and defense, do offense or then do defense, and so he'll have some semblance of order as what's going to, because that's a lot of stuff going on. So stand by him, and obviously don't talk in the O2Os while we're doing this either.
Yeah, Dennis, some referees will still screw it up. I do it.
That
Yeah, I'm admitting it, but I know you're referee, so yeah.
But to your point, Dennis, I need somebody to tell me the numbers in this situation. So, and this is Monticello. There's a field mic at Monticello. So, write down the numbers as you're talking about what happened, and then have that person who wrote down the numbers
Yep.
stand off to the side and say, hey, number 89 did this and whatever. So
89 red, 89 black, not offense. You want to say defense, offense. I would say defense, offense in
Yep.
that regards. That way he knows, which ones did what, blah, blah, blah. That's
right. Yep, exactly. Everybody's job on the crew is to make the white hat look good, just for the record. That's your first job, the other four officials.
That's right.
And if they screw it up after that, that's on them.
Exactly. All right, so this is another fun situation here. We have a punt play, a scrimmage kick play here. I got some arrows here. So the first thing you're going to see, I'm highlighting this kid right here, who's going to run under the field, realize he shouldn't be there after the snap, then come back off. And then get a nice return here to the top of the field. And you'll see this kid who's now running faster than everybody else downfield. So at that situation, once you see a kid either running the opposite way of the ball or running faster than everybody else, your antenna should go up, because he's going to have some fun in the end zone by doing that. So in this situation here, I think two things here. One, we should have a flag down for an illegal substitution here. Hopefully, so I'm going to start.
So, but is this, Matt, is this
So I'm
their
gonna step.
10th is
Yeah,
this
I'm
their
gonna count
11th player?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11
Okay,
players on
yep.
defense on the field. So the way our crew does it is our line of scrimmage will always count the defense if it's their sideline. So in this case, the line of scrimmage official at the bottom would be counting the defense and checking off with the back judge. Reason for that is this exact situation here. Now, if somebody runs on, the line of scrimmage is going to be able to tell if they got off before the snap or not, which in this case, they did not. You can have an argument here whether the official saw this kid run on or not. Already he's kind of looking back and probably doesn't see the kid running on here or not. I think in this case, the line of scrimmage official, since it's a scrimmage kick play, will be releasing at the snap. I don't know why they're looking back to start with at the line of scrimmage. They should be looking downfield for blocks, I would say, and not looking back at the ball, because the ball, at this point, the ball hasn't been kicked. Now, once you hear the thump of the kick, maybe you're looking back to see what the flight of the ball is, just to have an idea. In this case, their head's now looking at the ball and not looking at the hit that happens right in front of them either. I think this is a legal block, so I don't think there's a foul here. But I think they should have hopefully seen this player running off the field. And if they count the defense, they'll know that was the 12th player running off. And so they should have a flag on this play, my opinion here. Matt or George, anything other than that let's start with here?
I would agree.
Yeah, no, that's right. Because if this is the line judge or the line, he's already counted 12 on or 10 on the or 11 on the defense. That would be a 12th. He shouldn't be able to know that.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Next thing here. So referee umpire. So I've definitely gotten caught up in this also, looking too far downfield. In this case, you probably get by with it because that's where the massive humidity is downfield. But you should be kind of watching your halves of the field here. So, and helping out on the backside here. So umpire in this case, they hopefully should be seeing here this lineman or this defensive player running faster than everybody else. And it's like, hey, that looks odd. I should probably watch what he does, and then be able to see this late hit as well. Now you probably have a hold here as well. It looks like there's a tug on the jersey. I think the play is probably over at this point though. I don't know when the guy got tackled. This is so far away from the play as well that you shouldn't call this as a hold, even though he does clear. It looks like pull his jersey off his shoulder pad. However, we should have this late hit.
Yeah.
It happens right in front of the umpire. That should be called as a late hit.
And even if the referee, depending on what he's looking at, he could have looked there because there were players there. I understand a little bit with the umpire on the goal line, but the goal line wasn't threatened because it was blowing. But yeah, that needs to be caught.
Yep. And so let's talk about this here. So the illegal substitution, that is a foul at the snap. In this case, because it happens right as the snap happens. So you're gonna have a live ball foul on that one, and then you're gonna have a dead ball foul for the late hit out of bounds here. So you have two fouls here. If both fouls get called and you have a live ball foul on the defense and a dead ball foul on the defense, we get to have a fun conversation with the defensive coach because actually what's down in distance, 4th and 8. You're going to end up giving the kicking team a first down here in this case because of the march offs. So if you call the illegal substitution and then the dead ball foul, both on the defense. So yeah, so then that's going to be a fun conversation with the defense to tell him, hey, your kid screwed up. It's not my fault. They screwed up. They just screwed up, and now we have a first down on the kicking team.
Right. So the end result on this was the defensive team, the receiving team, ended up with the ball.
Yep.
Offense should have had it 1st and 10, 20 yards up from the line of scrimmage. So
And
that's where, and that's a major difference.
Yep. And instead of this case, it looks like the players tackled what, the 15-ish yard line, probably.
Yeah.
So instead of 1st and 10 at the 15, we call both fouls here. Now it's 1st and 10 for the kicking team, way further downfield here. It's and let's talk about too, if we don't catch the illegal substitution here, and then we catch the late hit after the play here, what do we have then? Well, in that case, since it happened on the defense, they're going to get to keep the ball in that case because it's a dead ball foul. We're going to move them back 15 yards from the end of the run, and then it'll still be 1st and 10 from that point.
Yeah.
And this would be if we did call all of these that we should have. This would be a situation where you need to go and explain to the offensive coach or defensive coach, excuse me, why he's not going to have the ball. Don't charge him a timeout.
Yep.
It's something that we may never see this situation again. I'm glad we did. I'm not happy it happened, but it's a good training item. And that's where you go over and you talk to them, somebody with the referee. It's not a debate. You explain it to the coach and you say, we got to go. You're not going to stay 5 minutes and explain it. But it's worth an explanation to a coach because this is a very odd situation. Anytime kicking game, change of possession, when's the penalty happened, etc. They're not going to know other than that they're just know they're not happy and they think they should have the ball at the 15-yard line. So,
hopefully the coach doesn't MF you on the field because then you might have a different situation. At least, hopefully he'll let you explain what happened. He's not, to George's point, not going to be happy.
Right.
But at least try to explain the situation as calmly as he can and then move on. Anything else on this play? This is a fun one. Okay. All right, here we go. So this play here, the reason this is on the tape here is because I want to talk about the protection for the punter in this case. So in high school rules, the punter has protection if it is obvious a kick will be attempted here. Obviously, if they're kicking the ball where the punter is currently standing, it's not going to be an issue, likely. They're just going to take the ball and hopefully kick it right away. Rugby style kickers, which looks like this player is a rugby style kicker. Don't get confused with the college rule. Again, I don't know the NFL rule. You don't see a lot of rugby kickers anyway in the NFL. I don't know if that's a rule or not. College rule is that if they get outside the tackle box or free blocking zone in our case, then they no longer have protection. In high school, again, they have protection if it is obvious a kick will be attempted. So in this case, right now, the kicker has protection because it's obvious he's kicking the ball. Now, the defensive player just kind of runs in front of him and doesn't hit him, which is great. However, let's say the defensive player has an opportunity to avoid making contact with them, but ends up running through him. Well, then the referee should have a conversation with themselves. Was that running into? Was that roughing? I'm not going to read the rule to everybody here. Basically, the roughing is if the crowd goes, oh, then you probably have roughing. If the crowd doesn't really react to it and he kind of just falls over, then it's going to be running into the kicker. Again, if it's obvious the kick will be happen. So it's kind of the same situation as like roughing the passer, let's say, where you're going to have you have to decide, did the defensive player have an opportunity to avoid the contact or not, and then decide if it raises to the level of roughing. Again, high school, if it's obvious the kick will happen, they have protection. Any questions on this one?
Hey, I will say this as if you're umpire back there, make sure you're watching it too as well, because you want to have an opinion on that one, because if your referee didn't see it all, and that's happened on a couple of cases, I can say that for sure. Say, yeah, that was roughing, or that would go with running in the kick on that one. So make sure you kind of have it. I mean, after you obviously got your primary responsibility, the snapper and whatnot, and the guys in front of you. But once the ball is being kicked, you want to make sure, in fact, you have an opinion of some sort on that roughing or running into that kicker as well.
Yes,
Well,
good point.
Dennis, I don't give my umpire any chance to have anything on that. So just kidding, Jeremiah.
And then just one thing for the line of scrimmage officials, if you see the top official there, just best practices, come down, stay on the sidelines till you're ready to kill it dead in 90 in. You see how they kind of start walking in there and they walk past the ball and then come back. Just something a little cleaner, stay on the sideline. You know, wave your hands when it's dead and come just straight in.
I think that's the back judge in this case.
Yep, that's the back judge because it
Yeah.
was on that side.
Oh,
Yep.
gotcha. All right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you'll see the official kind of jogging down at the end here, the sideline official.
Okay. But anyways, if it is like that, if it is a line of scrimmage, sorry, I didn't know it was the back judge.
No, but you're right. The line of scrimmage official, yeah, jog down here. The official that we don't see at the bottom, hopefully is doing that. But yes,
And I believe we see his head there at the bottom, and he is doing that.
okay,
Yeah.
You should see him come in.
there he
right
is.
there. Yep.
Yep. Okay. No, it's a very good point. It's just the back judge don't spot the ball unless you have to. I'm mostly kidding, Aaron. Okay, this play here. So another punt play here. I'll let it play here. So snap over the punter's head. The punter has to go back into the end zone and get it. I'm gonna highlight the referee and umpire in this situation here. They do a really good job. Jason and myself, we talk, especially if the goal line is anyway threatened on a punt, we're going to talk about who has goal line responsibility and who has end line responsibility before the snap. Usually Jason my umpire has the goal line and I'll have the back line. But we'll verbalize that before the play. Every single time we have a punt where the goal line might be threatened here. We probably aren't in this situation because the ball is snapped out fairly far away. But again, it's still not a bad idea just to know that who's got coverage on the goal line, who's got coverage on the end line here.
And that's one thing when you're down inside the 30 or whatever, make sure the umpire and referee you're talking who's got goal line, who's got end line. Just so you're talking. And the same thing when you're down there just on a regular play, if you're down, who's going to cover the goal line on a rollout by a quarterback, and who's going to the end line, that type of thing. So things like that. Communication with the umpire, referee in these cases is key to making sure you get everything covered.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, and it looks like in this case the referee is going to have the end line. The umpire kind of slows down at the goal line just a little bit because the goal line isn't really threatened in this case. So it's probably fine that they drift a little bit into the end zone.
Yep.
But that you can tell that's what their coverage is. That the referee's got the end line and the umpire's got the goal line in this case. So good. The design here, it's great coverage by the referee and the umpire here.
No.
All right.
Couple,
Time
just
check.
So
Go ahead,
somebody
Joe.
just chimed in here. Would you call unsportsmanlike for throwing the ball up in the air by the quarterback at the end of the play as he's
No.
walking off?
No, that's just frustration. He's not celebrating, obviously, and he's not throwing it at an opponent. He's frustrated. And
Yeah.
I
so
got
I would
Different
say
story
no.
if he spikes it or
Yeah,
he
it's
just
just
kind of flipped it, you know.
yeah.
I agree.
If he throws it
That's
at
where you
somebody,
talk to him.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you throw at somebody, maybe a different conversation or spikes it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
they've lost 2 points. Don't add any more insult to it. But a couple of points on this one. Matt was talking about goal line coverage and back line. Had that punter regained the ball and tried to escape the end zone, that's where that umpire needs to be at the goal line. One at the back line is he would ultimately win out of the play. But if he escapes through those guys and he's trying to get out of the end zone, that's why we need somebody at that goal line to see if it's a safety or did he get out. The other thing on this, both wings leave the line of scrimmage and go back into the offensive backfield. We need official, again, if he recovers this ball and punts it, we need officials on the line of scrimmage to see what happens. They're not helping anything by going downfield because the umpire and referee have it covered. The next important spot is the line of scrimmage, if indeed he's able to recover the ball, get out of there, and punt it. We need to know if that ball cleared the line of scrimmage. So again, they don't need to help anything down there because we have two officials. And that line of scrimmage is, the goal line in line is covered. Next important line of scrimmage is the line of scrimmage line, because that could definitely come into play.
Well, let's say the punter kicks the ball here now, and the offensive player ends up catching the ball in the air, or somehow recovers the ball. Now we got to know where he recovered the ball at,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
if it's beyond the line of scrimmage, the play is over. But if it's behind, he can now take the ball and get a first down if he wants to.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Yeah. So anchor in line of scrimmage, guys, gals, anchor in on that line, on a situation like this. Because you don't need to help the other two officials down there.
All right. 2 more plays here, everybody. Sorry, Olson, this is your play here. All right.
Yeah.
I like this one.
This is a good one. So let me rewind it. I won't talk to start with here. You can watch the play first off. So I'll let it play again. And then I'm going to go to the end zone view just so you can see better view what happens here behind the line of scrimmage. All right, so let's start with the funsies on this one. First off, by rule, everybody should know that by rule, this is not a fumbled snap. I don't care what any announcer tells you it is. It's not a fumbled snap. It is a muffed backward pass. And so I know I did this as a new official, so I get it. The tendency is because you've heard your entire life before you started officiating that this is a fumbled snap, when in reality is a muffed backward pass, which means you do not need a beanbag for that. You don't beanbag a muffed backward pass. The reason you use your beanbag in the first place is because the beanbag signifies you have an enforcement spot for a potential foul, which you would have for a fumble, but you wouldn't have for any kind of pass whatsoever. You use your beanbag for first touching on a kick, where the kick was received at, so that's the end of the kick, and a fumble, that's it, not a muffed backward pass in this situation. So that's the first thing. Second thing, obviously, hopefully everybody saw that, I'll go to this screen again here, that once the punter muffs the snap, he kicks the ball, right there, kicks the ball, which is then blocked by the defense and then picked up and returned for a touchdown. I'm going to highlight here in this situation, again, Matt, this is your play, so you can jump in here too. You've probably talked about this with your umpire here. The umpire does throw a flag here eventually. He kind of fumbles a little bit with it, but does throw a flag for the illegal kick. Now, rule-wise, in high school football, an illegal kick does not stop the play. The play is still live in high school football for an illegal kick like this. College is different. So high school, it's a live ball here. And so then the result of the play in this case is that the defense actually blocked the punt, and then they picked it up and returned it for a touchdown. So the result is a touchdown for the defense. So obviously in this situation, the defense will decline the illegal kick and take the points. So Matt,
So in this case, this is like Matt said, I didn't get a flag down because I was watching the ball come, but my umpire Jeremiah did throw a flag down for what we had, because he saw it too. And then I should have thrown a second flag down, but I also didn't, not a me too, because I already knew what he had. So I was more watching, making sure what happened here, whatever. So, but we did have a flag, it was definitely a kick. The main thing is that in talking, it goes back to, like Matt said, the college rule. College, you're dead automatically on that kick. High school, it's live. So I know we're not trying to get into high school college comparison, but going through my head, that's what I had to process. Yep, this is a live ball. Yes, we have a touchdown. Potential touchdown.
potential touchdown, depending, you just basically have to confirm with the umpire if there's no other flags, I guess.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
who threw the flag, that's what the flag was for, was the illegal kick. So any questions, comments on this one at all? All right, last play here, everybody. So this play here, this is play, I think it's a little bit later in the game, of this game here. And what I wanted to draw your attention to is the receiver and D-back at the bottom of the screen here. Right there. So hopefully everybody agrees that is a defensive hold. He did everything but take him down for 3 points for a wrestling 3-point takedown here. So hopefully everybody agrees that that is a defensive hold. The ball was not thrown yet, and he's clearly wrapping him up, trying to make sure it's holding him. So very handsy in this case. Highlight the line of scrimmage official at the bottom of the screen here. And this goes for all younger officials as well, whoever we have out there. This is the reason you do not watch the ball, you watch your key instead. If the line of scrimmage official in this case is watching the ball and the action around the ball happen, there's a decent chance at least he's not going to catch that the kid being wrapped up and held and rode like a horse for a while. Instead, he does a great job here of following his key, and has a flag down for the hold in this case. So again, highlighting here that this is the reason you do not watch the ball. You watch your key, you watch your area of responsibility, because you could catch this foul. So it's 3rd and 20, it looks like in this case. So to the defensive standpoint, a hold is only 10 yards. You're not going to get an automatic first down in this case in high school rules. And it's an incomplete pass, so we're just gonna go 10 yards, replay 3rd down, and move on with our lives. But again, good job on the line of scrimmage official to watch the key area responsibility here and pick up this foul.
Question for you. Down at the bottom, defense number 30, would you have a defenseless receiver? Because he puts his shoulder right into him while he's jumping to try and catch it here. It's right at the very bottom of the screen.
I think you can make an argument for that as well, because he's clearly
Yeah.
not going for the ball. He's trying to basically separate the receiver from the ball, right?
And I mean, if he wrapped him, it'd have been fine, but without the wrap, that's what caught my attention right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can make he probably should have a foul on that as well. The back judge or somebody hopefully helping out on that. So yes, I think that you can have a foul there as well. And probably should have a foul on that.
And then you would decline the holding and you take the defenseless player, and then you gain up 5 yards. You're still not going to get a first down, but you're going to be 5 yards closer.
Correct.
So it's kind of like what hurts him worse in that case, because all the penalties are going back to the previous spot.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, high school, obviously personal foul is not an automatic first down, whereas it is in college.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this play?
Yeah, I'll just chime in. That's as the crews know, as I do evaluations, this is my pet peeve. Wing officials watching the quarterback. And this is a play that you would not have gotten this penalty call. And just remember, as you read pass with your tackle's going to tell you by their blocking style what's going to happen. Wings have a tendency, as Matt said, watching the ball, because that's what we do when we're watching on TV. That situation puts 4 officials looking at the quarterback and a back judge watching everybody else. We do not need wing officials looking at the quarterback. There's 2 officials back there. You can take a peek to see what the quarterback's doing, but you've got to know what's happening to your receiver or what your receiver is doing, because you could have a push-off situation. So it's a tough habit to break. Very tough habit, but it's the number one thing I see on almost every film. And again, it's one of my pet peeves. I agree, but it's critical. And this situation probably would not have been called, and definitely should have been. So, off my soapbox.
All right.
All right, that's it. That's all we got for plays. George, hold me honest here. I think we have about a month from now, the next
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's the 23rd of July.
22nd, 23rd, I think. Yeah.
Whatever. It'll be a Wednesday night, not a Tuesday. But and I'll send reminders out again. So obviously with the new Zoom link but thanks everybody. Matt, good job. Good questions. Some of these plays we might not see for 10 years, but we got to be able to handle them when we do see them. And broken plays are when weird things happen, dangerous things happen, blindside blocks, things like that. So, always be alert. Know the foundational things, know the definitions, and we'll be good. So thanks everybody.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.